What are we talking about today? We're kind of both excited about this topic.
Yeah. Well, first, I'm Sanam Salati-Yersin with New England Prestige Realty.
And I'm Kelly Turner with Total Mortgage.
And we've been talking a little bit about
affordability. It's like the hot topic right now that everybody has of, is housing currently unaffordable? What can you do to make it affordable? We hear about a lot of TikToks and reels about house hacks and things that you can do to make housing more affordable. But
we have a hack for you.
And it's something that, what do we generally see during recessions, right? We see people go back to kind of older ways of living, simpler ways of living. And what is one of those tactics?
Multi-generational homes. Yeah.
And I think it's not just the concept of we're going to even expand upon multi-generational homes. It's not just multi-generational homes, but it's also the thought of living with people outside of your immediate family.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we were just reading earlier, like the average first-time home buyer, the age of moving into home ownership used to be 33.
Yeah.
Today it's 36.
Yeah, 36. And that to me, the first thing I did when we sort of found that statistic is I immediately did my math. And I was like, man, if you're not buying a home till you're 36 and you're graduating from college at 22, then you are potentially renting for 14 years. 14 years. And you guys know my thoughts on rent.
Well, but also like, how long is a typical mortgage? How many years?
30 years.
So that's almost half.
You're half a mortgage you're paying in rent.
That you're paying somebody else's mortgage. You're paying somebody's mortgage.
But I think the thought is like, I understand why that is happening, right? There is definitely a lot of conversations to have about affordability currently, right? Yeah. With mortgage rates slightly higher. And again, I'm going to use slightly higher. I know people don't like to hear that, but that is the truth. It's just slightly higher.
Yeah. I mean, we're not at 14%.
Correct. And this is around where rates were pre-2008.
Yeah.
So this is slightly higher. But really the bigger thing is with home prices going up. That's almost the bigger piece to the affordability.
Yeah.
Taxes have gone up, insurance has gone up. So what do we do here, right? How can we make it affordable? And we were sort of chatting about just what we see, right?
Yeah. Well, we were also talking about like, I would love to just build a whole compound with my friends and family so we could all live near each other.
And share resources.
Share resources, for sure. You actually shared a really interesting story about two ladies.
Yeah. So I had a borrower pair that were two best friends. They were best friends.
Smart friends.
Yes.
Too.
They were in their 30s and they had been renting for quite some time. And they decided to go in together and purchase a condo.
Yeah.
Now, they were very smart in this and that they didn't just go blindly in and buy a condo. We had legal documentation drawn up for them by their attorney about who was putting what into this home, how they would split it if they were to ever.
Yeah, basically an exit plan.
Yeah.
Everybody, any business has to have an exit plan drawn up in advance.
Yeah.
So it's easy. It's black and white. This is what happens.
Exactly. They had an exit plan drawn up. They've now been living in the condo for 5 years.
Building lots of equity.
The value of this particular condo, I think they bought it for like 110. They're now selling for around 2.
Wow.
So there's been a
great,
I know,
that's incredible.
Great value increase for them. And they've had they're, fabulous people. And they've had really great candid conversations with each other about, what happens if somebody meets a partner or spouse and they want to get married? What happens if somebody wants to move out? And they have like a great plan in place. And I really think that what just a smart way to do it, where they both would have struggled to purchase on their own at the time.
Yeah.
But they have
combined resources.
They treat it like a business,
yeah.
even though they live there. And they really look at it as they contribute household expenses into this business that then comes back. It's not really a business, but that's how they view it.
Yeah.
That then comes back and pay their bills. They look at the equity as a growing asset. It's part of their retirement plans. It's part of their financial plans. They're trying to pay the mortgage down a little bit quicker because they're trying to get to a certain equity position in the property.
But imagine if they hadn't done that and they continue to rent. And as we've seen since the pandemic, rents have blown up out of control. But even if they wanted to buy at this time,
it would have been, that's if they bought when rates were low, they bought when sale prices were low. It really did work for them.
Yeah.
But I also think this is a concept to be contemplating just in the multi-generational household concept of, we were looking at some statistics about Gen Xers, right? And what are Gen Xers doing? So Gen Xers are the generation between boomers and millennials.
Yes.
And they are in their.
I'm an Xer.
You're an Xer. I'm a millennial, but only by a year.
I'm only an Xer by a tiny bit, but I am an Xer. No, but like right now, like 14% of home buyers in the US are multi-generational buyers. They're going in on it together. And actually, you were sharing a story about another family that got an incredible home.
An incredible home.
That each one individually never could have afforded.
Correct. They were two. It was a immediate family daughter.
Yeah.
And her family unit and a mom.
Yeah.
They owned two separate small houses that they were paying mortgage on and things like that. They sold those two houses, took all those funds, combined them, and they bought an absolutely stunning house that nobody would have been able to afford otherwise, that really suited their family situation.
Yeah.
They had a parent who traveled for work, mom provided childcare. It was genius.
Sounds magical.
Well, and really it's going back to the way people used to live.
Yes.
It's going back to the way people used to live.
We were talking about that earlier. Like, it's funny. My parents would talk about how like their aunts and uncles and like, you know, everybody would just parent them. Like everybody was involved. And I think you need that. You know?
Well, and I think, you know, and why we said in the beginning, not just multi-generational, but like contemplating outside of that. Is that your friends?
Yeah.
What does that look like for you? Would it, you know, there's like articles and stuff on, you know, BuzzFeed about like, I read one, 4 girlfriends buy a piece of land and build homes next to each other. And
a compound.
I'm like, that sounds magical.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds magical. But is there some real thought behind this that this could really work for a lot of people? For childcare reasons, for safety reasons, for affordability reasons? Are we going back to sort of the
old school way of
living? Where parents would buy a piece of land and build their kids' houses on it?
Well, I was saying, like, so you live in a pseudo compound.
I live in a pseudo compound.
And you were sharing like how your kids can just go to the neighbors and play, and your neighbors come over and have dinner. And I'm like, that's amazing. We talk about your home being your happy place, a place that you drive up and like a smile should like appear on your face. Like, that sounds amazing to me. Like the whole quality of life when you love where you live, because it's not just the 4 walls that you're living within.
Yeah, exactly. And like, can this help you afford more house? Can this, and even thinking outside the box of, we call them ADUs, accessory dwelling units, in-law apartments, right? Or au pair apartments.
They're all the rage, like out west.
Yeah.
They haven't really like expanded or blown up in Connecticut, and it's probably because of our
zoning. The trick with ADUs, accessory dwelling units or in-laws, is they are governed by local zoning regulations, and some towns are more open to them than others. The other thing on the mortgage standpoint is it's hard to use income from those to help you qualify. Okay. Well, we know you may make income from them.
And you typically do.
It's not part of the qualification like a multifamily might be, right? Sure. If you're buying a 2-family home, I can use proposed rent from the second unit to help you qualify for that. Yeah. Which again helps with affordability. Yeah. But accessory dwelling units really don't come into play that much, but they are like a great thought. And again, do you have a family member, an au pair, a friend who, you know, you'd like to live with you, but maybe living within your space might be a little bit hard, but having them off the bat. My mom always jokes that she wants a granny pod, which are a real thing. You should Google granny pod.
Oh, it's a real word? I thought you made it up.
No, they're these tiny homes that people can put in their yards for parents.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
You know, to come live in, where again, they have a little bit of their own space. Yeah. Something like that. And it's funny because this was very common back 30, 40 years ago. Yeah. Then zoning rules really moved away from it. But I think it's coming back.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's funny because you touched on multifamilies a little bit. So, I mean, that's a really great alternative too for people to kind of go in on an investment, you know, a home, while having a little bit of separation. Yep. But I know that there's some rules and restrictions with financing once you go like larger, like maybe a 3 or 4 family unit.
Yeah. So multifamilies, a lot of borrowers end up going FHA, Federal Housing Administration, because they allow you to put 3.5% down, where unless you fit into some more lower income type programs for Fannie and Freddie, you're really putting like 15% down on a multifamily.
Because it's an investment.
Yeah. Even if you're living there, we're really looking at it as an investment. FHA allows you to buy them at 3.5% down. But if you are buying a 3 or 4 unit, that property has to meet a self-sustainability guideline.
What's a self-sustainability?
It's a little tricky. So you need to take the rents of all of the units. Yeah. Okay. And then 75% of those combined rents have to be higher than the mortgage payment.
And with these interest rates, even though they're slightly higher, they're not super high, but that's hard.
It can be hard to meet self-sustainability. Or self-sufficiency, maybe is what it's called, but whatever it is. That the other trick with 3 to 4 units is you also have to have reserves. So you can't deplete all your funds in the purchase. There has to be money in reserve in case you have empty units, in case, there's an issue with the property that you need to fix. So 3 to 4 units can be a little bit tough.
Sure.
But I do often have borrowers buying duplexes. That's really
duplexes are awesome.
They're easy to qualify for. Yeah. They're generally not as expensive.
Yeah.
They don't have the maintenance fees. You don't have 3 kitchens to take care
that's
of.
The thing. And also, like, you have 1 roof. You don't have 2 roofs. You're paying 1 set of taxes, not 2 set of taxes. Yeah. There's 1 lawn to maintain.
Yeah.
Like,
and
it's
so
just easy.
I had a borrower a long time ago now, probably 8 or 9 years ago, that her and her sister were co-borrowers on a duplex.
Nice.
And one sister lives in one side of the duplex with her family. The other sister lives on the other side of the duplex with her family. This was when I say duplex, this was like a $380,000 property. This was a very nice, large property. They needed each other to qualify.
Yeah.
And it really worked out great. And they've been living there for, 8 or 9 years at this point. And it really and it was kind of, again, that communal living. The cousins were best friends. They wanted everybody to kind of be able to participate. And it just made sense for them. And what a great idea.
It is a wonderful idea. So we were talking earlier a little bit about reasons why multi-generational living is kind of like the new thing. We touched on affordability, but there's another reason too, especially with the Gen Xers, moving into caring for parents.
Yeah. And that's a big thing right now. That's a big thing right now. And that's an interesting one. If you guys are familiar with what happens in elder care, it's very expensive. Very expensive.
Very like $5,000 a month, plus or minus. I don't even know how people afford it.
Well, and the rules for convalescent homes and stuff at this point, where you're liquidating all your assets and you're turning them over to retirement homes and things like that, it can be very difficult for people to afford. What's easier, moving mom or dad or mom and dad in with you?
Yeah.
And I think your generation, right? We were kind of talking about it. Gen X goes up to 58.
Yeah.
So it's 40.
I'm at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
43 to 58. Us millennials go to 42. So I'm right there with you, Sanam. Sanam and I just crossed over this border.
We're like this.
But it's something that we're seeing. But then the crush can happen in both directions too.
Yeah. Because
we're also seeing more young adults moving back home.
Yes.
Because of affordability issues. Yeah. So you're seeing 20, 25, 30-year-olds moving home. So you could
I
have
hope my kids do that. I'm after they're still babies now, but after they leave, I hope they come back after college.
Well, and that's it. So you could theoretically have your adult son or daughter living with you and your parent living with you.
Yeah.
So what do you need? You need a big house.
You need a big house. We see it with new construction. So I'm building a development in North Haven, and we're getting a lot of buyers coming in asking us for an in-law type of setup, or can we have a primary suite on the main level in addition to the second level? And it's
well, and people for that are also thinking about aging, right?
That's true.
Because aging in your home is much more, because of the price.
More comfortable.
It's more comfortable. So people are trying to, because before, right, you'd have your house and then you'd move into a small one-story ranch.
Yes.
How many one-floor ranches do you see these days?
You don't, and that's why those prices are insane. Yeah, one-story ranches.
You're this is a 1,000 square foot ranch and it's going for $380. Why? And it's because they're very coveted because people are trying to age in place.
Yeah, absolutely. The wider hallways, just easy, no steps.
Yeah, so it's something to contemplate. I think it can help with affordability. I think if you have family, friends, someone who you could live with. It is a solution for some people. And I think it's a solution that we're really going to see in the next few years.
It's increasing. It's 14% now, and I think it's going to increase. It's a smart solution. It's not for everyone.
Yep.
But I think it's a really smart decision.
I would live with my mom, so I totally get it. My mom.
We're very lucky to have amazing moms.
Yeah, absolutely. So
and if not, pick a friend.
Right. Well, and that's it. Think outside the box. Yeah. Your multi-generational household or outside of your immediate family household could be beyond just your family.
Could be. So actually, I had a client. They were siblings, brothers, and they ended up buying together too. Yeah. So
it's a thought. It's an idea.
Oh, before we sign off, do we want to invite people to something at the end of the month?
Yes. What's happening, Sanam?
We are having pictures with the Easter Bunny right here at New England Prestige Realty. And you're going to put together some fun
We're going to have some fun games, some fun prizes,
activities, candy,
all the fun stuff.
It's open to everyone. Doesn't matter your age. Doesn't matter if you have furry kids, like furry friends or not. Doesn't matter. All is welcome. And maybe we'll link that to this video.
We'll put it in the comments.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Well, we can't wait.
Channeling spring.
I know, right? It feels a little. You can see it's like a little bright and sunny today. It feels a little spring-like.
It's been warmer in the winter than it has been right now. It's insane.
We have crocuses blooming at my
house.
Oh my
goodness!
Like little, and I was like, hello, it just snowed a week ago. It's gonna snow tomorrow night.
Oh gosh. Anyway, well, thank you guys so much for watching.
We'll see you next time.